Hey everybody, and welcome to Dee Talk Live Thursdays with Dee. I hope everybody is having an amazing evening and you guys are settling in and just rugging up because it's so cold out there. It's freezing outside today. It's so cold. I hope everybody is really well. Thank you for joining me tonight. You guys mean the world to me, as per usual, as per every week. I can't stop saying thank you all the time. It's a thing that Dee has. Tonight's topic is huge because it has to do with us as people as well. And I thought it was really, really interesting because I was watching a movie, and years ago, the way we felt about specific things was so simple, and life was simple, because these days life is so complex. It's so hard in the sense that everything has to be extravagant or so perfect, or the expectation has to be tenfold to the point, or 100-fold to the point where not only does it have to be perfect, but we expect so much more than what we used to. And also tonight I want to shout out to the Muslim community as well. Happy Eid to all my beautiful friends, my Muslim friends out there. I hope you guys are having splendid celebrations with your families and your loved ones tonight. I'm sending all my love and light to you guys as well. We have a massive community here at What Dee Thinks. So tonight, going back to my topic, we are talking about in what ways has society made us have higher expectations. Do you have higher expectations? And many of us do have higher expectations due to the fact that, it's what we want in our lives. It's what we expect. But sometimes those expectations as well, and having those high expectations, tend to get us into a little bit of trouble. Because what we think or what we perceive or what we want sometimes doesn't actually work out the way that we want, only because it's not supposed to. Law of attraction is the way that we push out to the universe what we want. Sometimes we push too much though. We have to let it go and let it take over us and really trust it, because we're on a journey at the end of the day. We're on a specific journey where everything that is supposed to be for us will never pass us by. It'll always be for us and it'll always come to us. Sometimes not in exactly the same way that you want it to, but it does work out in that perfect way. And then later on, maybe a couple of years on, you actually realize that, hey, maybe it was, this way. And maybe I was overthinking it, because at that stage, we don't necessarily believe that it is right or it is working in a specific way for our highest good or benefit. But then later you think about it and you're like, oh my God, it's actually it's worked. I get it now. Like it all adds up. And as I said the other night, and as many of you know, I'm a night owl. I'm always up till late, working on content, articles, events coming up. There's so much happening at the moment, guys. It's crazy. I know it's May. We're heading into winter as well, and there's so much on the D agenda. It's not funny. I had spoken about previous events and things that we're actually segments that are coming together at the moment. They're going to be huge, like huge. I don't even know. Like it's huge. So we're going to be quite busy. But we're very excited. Indeed am very excited. So much more is happening in regards to the messaging behind everything as well, because the message is the most important that we're trying to pinpoint and get out there to the world, So the other night I was watching Step Up. I don't know how many of you, like girly flicks or, chick flicks or, whatever they're calling them these days. But years ago, because I love dancing movies, I love to dance, I love to laugh, I feel the music and emotion comes through me because that's what type of person I am. But years ago, Step Up was an amazing movie and I was quite young at the time. And, in regards to special effects, in regards to what movies bring us, back then it was exciting because obviously our expectations weren't as high. We weren't expecting much because it's what we were given at the time. And for us, it was like exciting. It was important, you know, and you'd think, oh, how exciting, how amazing is this movie? You know, I can't wait to watch it. But the other night when I watched it, I was like, is that it? It was like, how did I get so excited back then? Or how was I so entwined with the storyline back then? But in regards to it, like now, I'm like bored, and there's nothing really in regards to substance, you know? Yes, John, it's true, same here. Because what we had perceived previously is so much more different now. It's not what we actually want. It's different. Like our expectations, the way society has made specific things, you know, it's generation after generation. Each generation just gets better and better because they introduce new ways of thinking, new aspects of thinking, and making us so more involved. But, you know, creating such aspects or dynamics throughout society sometimes does benefit us in a way. But you've also got your negatives, which is what I was talking about in my post today as well. And a few of you commented too, within terms of Instagram and Facebook, and had actually messaged me privately. Because what we basically perceive, what we want, tends to be two different things. But because the expectations have been raised, or the bar has been raised higher than what it used to, we expect so much more. I used to break dance back in the 80s. Oh my God. I so would have wanted to see that, John. That would have been amazing. Because I'm an 80s girl. As a few of you know, I'm crazy about the 80s and the 70s. The 70s and the 80s. I always have this argument that I should have been born in the 70s, not in the 80s. Because they're two of my favorite eras. And the 90s. I'm going to be a bit more, you know, with that now anyway. So basically all eras give us something in order to create a specific expectation. But it's what we do with that expectation in regards to having the higher expectation. When you have a higher expectation, it not only brings you a specific ideology behind what you want, it also creates a somewhat perception where your emotions get involved and you think that what you're actually wanting is, it should happen, right? Sometimes it doesn't happen though. And that's why I said, do you have higher expectations, right? And most of the times we do, because we expect a lot from what we used to. Life was a lot more simpler back in the days, as I had said, in regards to society. And we didn't expect as much, and that's why simplicity was just easy, right? But in saying that, we need to change, we need to evolve, because at the end of the day, change is inevitable. And we stay stagnant and we get sick, and vice versa. Mental illnesses, problems come into our lives because we are at a standstill and nothing really eventuates or happens. Higher expectations in specific fundamental aspects that we have in our life really bring a wholeness to our life and perception. So for example, one could be relationships. And I think that it is a positive that you should expect a lot from your relationship. And you're able to coexist within that relationship, but really dissect those aspects in order to say what you want and what you don't want as well. Because relationships are very important. But remember, when you first meet someone, you're able to fathom whether or not you and that other significant other are really supposed to be together. So you're able to already get rid of those higher expectations. You're able to cut through the bullshit, okay? And just say, this is not what I deserve and this is not what I want. Because within yourself, you already know what you want. You already know what you deserve, and you already understand what you expect. right? So these are all specific methods that you use when you start a relationship. I'm giving as an example, sorry, because in my post, that's what we had spoken about briefly, right? In regards to other things though, you can have higher expectations, but sometimes psychological issues come about, mental issues come about. And that's the reason why I always say, let it go and let it flow, let go and let God. Because a lot of the times, things that we originally thought were for us, or things that we wanted in our lives, didn't actually happen. And then that's where specific issues and skeletons that we have, and our shadow side of things, the things that we keep inside that we're not able to express, only because we are scared, or we don't know how to deal with it, or talk to somebody, or let it out, like be able to express stuff, really affects us. And a lot of this stuff tends to be quite serious in particular aspects, and that's why I thought we'd explore this tonight and really talk about it. So psychological issues connected with higher expectations, right? They often come connected to other issues. And this is what I was saying in regards to millennials and new generations and how everything comes into terms. Because sociology was one of my main components that I also studied with many of my degrees, right? And sociology obviously is the study of people and society and how we evolve, and it goes into so much more. It's a great subject, right? I loved it so much. Like, it was probably, I used to teach the class sometimes as well, because my teacher was like, you're so good, because I loved it, right? When you love something, and obviously that's probably why I'm here talking to you guys, because I love people, right? It's the people aspect, it's the social skills, it's the communication, it's what we're offering, it's the expression, right? So it's all connected. So one of the main issues connected is perfectionism. So that's why I spoke about in regards to high expectations. When you have these high expectations, you tend to think that everything needs to be perfect. Nothing is perfect. Nothing will ever be perfect. It's never supposed to be perfect. We need to have flaws in our life in order to contemplate what we need to do next, right? So without the dark, we can never see the light. And that's how I've always spoken in a spiritual context as well. Because through the darkness, you're not able to really understand or receive what the message is that's coming through to you in order to push it forward and really understand it, okay? So it has a lot to do with, these types of issues. So then you've got low self-esteem, which is another thing. So when someone sees, for example, in regards to society, when you see a perfect looking woman, on social media, or someone that's had so much work done that you perceive or believe that you need to look in that specific way, that's where your low self-esteem comes into it. You're like, okay, I need to book myself in now to go and get this cosmetic surgery done or get this stuff done, because it's the way society pushes that message and wants you to perceive things, which is not right, okay? I get it's a type of sales or marketing aspect that they have, but in reality, we really need to stand in ourselves. We need to stand in a sovereignty, which is what I've said, And Mary, it's true. In order to rise, one must fall and dust themselves off and try again. I've said it a million times. This is how life is, guys. No one is perfect, and no one will ever be perfect. We will never be made perfect. We're perfect in our own way, with our flaws, with our character, with who we are. You have to accept every single flaw that the person has got in order to understand them, and that's through higher expectations, right? This is what I'm trying to say. Never ever believe that specific thing has to be in a specific way, because it doesn't. It's going to be conceived and it's going to be created in such a beautiful way for everyone out there and you guys, because it's yours. Whatever is meant for you will never pass you by. Always mark my words, guys, always, and believe it as well. Then you have negative core beliefs, right? And this goes back to relationships, and we talk about relationships and love a lot on Mondays as well, right? So I have to be perfect to be loved. The world is dangerous, so I need to be in control. Hence why then we have fundamental issues within terms of our relationships and understanding how to get into a relationship. And once we're in that relationship, we sabotage it because we think that we're not enough. And you are all enough. You're beautiful enough. You're creative enough. You're smart enough. You're intelligent enough. You just have to believe it within yourself. And don't let anybody else tell you any less. You know, regardless of what people say, they're their values or their core beliefs. They're not yours. You don't need to own that shit. You know, your shit is your own shit, and you need to own that shit. That's how I see it. That's what they're going through. That's their own fundamental issues or background knowledge on the matter. Because we're stronger than that, right, guys? We're Dee Thinkers. That's it. This is why I created this. We're power driven. We're intelligent. We have so much magic and power to bring out to the world. And that's why, in terms of, you know, having expectations, have them. Have them to a degree where you're able to control them to really, really give you what you need from them, you know? So, then there is, here we go, fear of intimacy, right? So we run away from this. By expecting too much of others, you have a perfect excuse to push them away because you're scared, which is what I had said previously. You get scared of intimacy, you get scared of love because of previous issues and previous mindsets, because you expect so much from them. They should be opening the car door, they should be, what else is there? They should be holding my hand every 2 seconds, they should be telling me every day that they love me. You know, these are things that you already know within yourself. Not to say that these aren't beautiful things that, you know, some other person should say to you or your significant other. Of course, love is love, like as we've said. But sometimes people just want to be fussed over a little bit too much, you know. So it gets too much into, you know, specific ideologies. Are you focusing on people with insecurities? No, Mary, what I'm saying is that sometimes when people, let's just say, have higher expectations, they're at a risk of actually forming psychological issues connected with high expectations. That's what we're talking about. So I'm going through every single specific issue that might be connected. So these are all connected to having higher expectations. Many people might have higher expectations, which is great. I'm not saying they shouldn't, but in reality, sometimes the higher expectations might sabotage their self-awareness within specific issues, because, you know, not everything happens the way it's supposed to. That's what I'm pretty much bringing out here to my beautiful people tonight. That's what we're going through. So not people only with insecurities, as a whole. So we're pretty much forming the ideas based around the high expectations that can be connected and that might actually happen through that type or way of thinking, you know. So fear of failure, so which can lead to setting yourself up to fail. So unconsciously actually proving your fear valid. So fear of change, right? Change, as I said, is inevitable. Things always change. They can't stay stagnant, because life needs to proceed, it needs to keep on going, and it's not going to wait for any of us, unfortunately. Even so, it's the way it is. And in a way, it's beautiful because things are created. You meet so many new people. Things happen in your life for the better. And some people might think, you know, no, it doesn't, or, you know, but you stay stagnant, that's how many illnesses, how many diseases, things come about as well. So hence, if I focus on the things going the way I want, they won't change. So that's the way of their perception and the way that they think. That's what I'm trying to pretty much put across here. You know, having higher expectations doesn't necessarily mean that they won't happen either. Whatever is supposed to happen will happen. That's what I'm trying to get across tonight, especially with the message. But in reality, we have to try and understand that, you know, what we once thought was possibly for us might not be exactly what is supposed to be, okay? And, you know, as I said previously, in terms of relationships, hell yeah, you know, you want to be happy. Hell yeah, you want to be in love and, you know, with somebody that's going to really appreciate you. Other forms, obviously, in regards to society, not only image, through TV, through generations, because as generations go on, as I've said, so many new technologies, so many new analogies, so many ways of thinking have come so far and have made us believe that, you know, this is how it's got to be. And, you know, as I said, life was so simple. And obviously, we can't still live then. We have to live for now, and we've got to be presently aware. But it's quite interesting because, as I said previously, when I was watching that movie, I wasn't as amazed or inspired by it, because now, in regards to movies and the way they're made, or, you know, things are created, you know, it could be anything, right? I'm just giving it as an example tonight. Are like off the charts, and you get so excited, especially a lot of the stuff that's been on Netflix as well lately. There was one in particular, and I think it's brilliant. The first season has come out, and for those, I actually mentioned it to my cousin. She watched it and she goes, "You were right, it was fantastic." It's called Sexify. So if you have Netflix, watch it. It is amazing, like amazing. And another one as well for my young millennials as well, starting out with their businesses, because I know a lot of them are just starting and wanting to get out there and do like a lot of fashion stuff, because my background as well is fashion. There's a fantastic one on there too, and it's called Girl Boss, for people who haven't watched it as yet, because I'm a Netflixer. It's hilarious. So yeah, go out and watch it. Thank you again to everybody for joining me tonight. Thank you for all your beautiful comments. Thanks for the interaction. You guys rock. I love you so much. Join me again on Monday for a Dee Love Talk like no other. The topic that we're talking about is going to be crazy. You're going to get a lot more interaction out of it as well, because we're going to be giving pointers, and we're going to go into what actually attracts you to somebody else, and things that you perceive to be real, not really being real. Anyway, thank you again for joining me tonight on Dee Talk Live Thursdays. I love you guys so much. Thank you again for all the support and love that I receive every week on these dynamic lives. And I will see you then for Monday. Have a fantastic weekend, my beautiful people. And as I said earlier, happy Eid to all my Muslim friends that are celebrating tonight. Love you. Love and light to everybody. Dee out. Love you so much.